Ian Beveridge back again, and Volker.
Volker Salman, hello. So we want to talk about securing electronic identities by trust, what means things we actually can deliver, and talk a little bit also about the wish lists on the market we figured out as a vendor itself. Let's start with something short about our company. As you see, we are a provider for end-to-end solutions at all. The most interesting parts here are the purple ones, where we can serve, for example, the complete backbone for you as QTSPs out in the world. From our side, we are providing trusted services to our partners and customers for more than 8 years now. And our solutions are offered for eIDAS QTSPs in all that various different kinds or different layers needed. At first, we can start with only delivering eIDAS qualified or advanced certificates for a normal use case outside of the Entrust own ecosystem. Or, on the other hand, we can provide you the complete signature solution at all. As you see here, this complete solution is for normal split in some different parts, where the core part, as you see in the middle of this slide, is relied on the remote QACD. This is the complete trust anchor behind all that remote signature solutions. So, in fact, you cannot act as a QTSP, as an own QTSP, without a certified Type 2 QACD in the back. It contains, on one hand, a hardware security module, which also can be used for many other use cases. But in that case, we need this hardware security module combined with a so-called SAM module, or signature activation module. In combination, it allows, with some identity checks and with different identity providers, it controls the sole control on the key that is used finally to sign a document in the name of your customers. On the other hand, there is also an existing Type 1 local QACD. This is for normal used by companies like banks, like insurances. And in that special case, we don't really need a signature activation module, and the system itself don't have to be eIDAS certified at all. It will be enough to have a certified hardware security module running in the back. And in that special case, the wording is necessary, because I always hear we talk about local signatures in the field. And that's, in the eIDAS context, strictly wrong, because we are talking for normal about qualified seals. Because it's done in the name of a company and not in the name of a natural person. So in that special case, with Type 1 QACDs, we for normal talk about sealings and not really signatures. But technically, yes, it's the same. On the other hand, for the backend, we can also use the HSMs for the certificate authority, for the CA, for the OCSP responders, for several timestamping solutions if needed. And of course, we can also provide the complete CA infrastructure for the backend. And to see the bottom, it's a part of all that services became more and more necessary, especially within the COVID times, where it's not possible, or it was not possible at any time to present your ID cards by hand, and so it became really necessary to set up ICAO compatible or compatible systems to be able to use ICAO compatible passports and electronic IDs. Just, for example, to allow a seamless flow, jumping into a train, driving to another country without having any contact that is not really needed.
Maybe just to add, Volker, so yeah, that one use case where this IDV solution has been used is when taking the Eurotunnel from St Pancras in London through to Belgium or Paris, and to streamline that whole onboarding process and to just to make it as frictionless as possible. People riding on the train can onboard themselves, upload their passport details, and all the necessary checks are done in advance of actually getting that train through the Channel Tunnel. So just an example, but going forward, I think there may be many opportunities for that streamlined onboarding process.
Yeah. So let's go to the next. Yes. And about the market as we see it actually, in the past, there were only some remote signature solutions signed out in the world, but since the real remote signature in eIDAS context was enforced, we now see an increasing number, actually for more than 200 QTSPs only in Europe. And this is, let's say, based on that great framework we find combined in the eIDAS standard as it is, or especially in the ETSI standard -2 and -5 for the several reasons. And in fact, what we also see is that many countries out in the world try to adapt these standards also for non-EU countries. This also speaks mainly for the quality of the eIDAS standard itself. And we see, for example, Japan also is using it for governmental signatures for their citizens. The last time we heard from Brazil that they also enrolled an app for every citizen in Brazil to be able to sign governmental documents like tax declarations and many more, just by using one single mobile phone app. And this also in the backline adapts the standards of the eIDAS certification itself. Next. And also as a vendor, we truly see the needs of the QTSPs out in the field. So the eIDAS was a good start, but there are many needs. And the first one is, for example, high availability. Just also relying on COVID, where we had a big transformation to all digitally done. You just need, as a QTSP, to fulfill your SLAs for your customers. And therefore, you need the possibility to set up a really high available and also a really scalable system, which allows you, in the second part on scalability, just to add really quick more performance in your actual system. And this is mostly be done with fulfilling easy standards like web APIs, like cutting all down in microservices or in a containerized view. So also we see in the field many not containerized solutions, but the trend is actively moving really to, for example, setting up your SAM modules as a containerized solution just to set another one up within a few minutes and not within hardware changes and firmware changes. And also it all have to be compliant to open standards in the world. So you need to have something like the CSC API that's also covered with our own SAM module, just a quite easy and standardized way how such a signature call or a key generation call from a customer side, from your application, should look like to fulfill your own needs. Then I give to...
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Volker. So today, something in the region of 14% of public services across EU member states allow cross-border authentication with eID. And the European Commission recognises that there's a need to change that. 14% is a start, but there's clearly room for improvement. And they've identified a number of areas, such as the coverage of the notified eID schemes, the acceptance of those schemes by the member states, the use of cross-border authentication, which is clearly what eIDAS was all about, the user experience of the service, and also the acceptance of the national eID schemes by the private sector. So eIDAS 2 will strongly encourage the market to use electronic identity within this common framework. And you may well be aware of the ambition that has been set by the EU. By 2030, the ambition is 80% of citizens will have an electronic identity that will be recognised by the EU member states. And as you may well know, EU citizens, they will opt in to this European Digital Identity Wallet, allowing each citizen to decide how much information they wish to share about themselves, with whom and for what purpose. And I guess a real good example, for citizens to reveal their name and birth year to prove that they're 18 years old, but not necessarily revealing more of their personal information or attributes. So in order to achieve the target of eIDAS 2, having effective identity verification procedures, as well as having common and clear schemes of certification in eIDAS 2 is important. And it's hoped that the lower adoption costs, as well as compliant costs for TSPs, will also become a key success to eIDAS 2. So we're evolving from eIDAS 1, which has been around quite a number of years, and we have this know your customer concept, which is currently you need to know with legal validity your customer, whether it's a new customer or existing customer. You need to know with legal validity at the other end of the internet service that you're providing. So you need to have knowledge of them. And with eIDAS 2 as an organization, you will not need to maintain customer identity records. So, where you have to dig through every time to figure out if you know the customer or not. Organizations will be able to leverage the member states' databases, and end customers, as I mentioned, they'll opt in to consent and share their identity. So we should reach the point where companies will be able to skip the process of user identification entirely. So for TSPs seeking to expand their digital service, it's got to be good news. So TSPs already have the majority of the technology in place, making it easier for those organizations to integrate and consume the technical APIs, and that should be them in a really strong position. So you'll have an implementation automatically accepted by the member states. And I guess we're looking forward to this bright new vision of eIDAS 2, and hope that Entrust can be part of that journey with you. Thank you.